Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome to episode number 899 of NoDQ&A video right here on NoDQ.com, as well as NoDQ's affiliate, RingsideNews.com. If you enjoyed today's video, please share it. Please spread the word about NoDQ&A video, especially as we get closer to the 900th episode, which will be an extended edition. You can send in questions at twitter.com/AaronRift using the hashtag PAIV. Please try to come up with a unique question that I have not answered before, or at least a question that I have not answered in a very long time. With that out of the way, let's get started today. First one comes from BQ8000. I believe this is a first-time asker because I am not familiar with this username. Do you think Dean Ambrose's IC title win was controversial? If so, why? I would say it was definitely controversial from The Miz's perspective. We had Maurice slapping Dean Ambrose, and Ambrose convinced the referee to not call for a disqualification. And we've seen it before. We've seen it in the past where the referee will let certain things slide. I thought this storyline was really well done. A good way for Ambrose to win the title and for The Miz to have an excuse. He could just put the blame on Maurice going into business for herself. And we got that awesome Miz promo on Talking Smack. That was fantastic. I mean, The Miz is one of those guys that just seems to be getting better and better with each passing year. The guy is just consistently improving, and I thought he was tremendous. I love that reaction to losing the title on Talking Smack. I thought it was fantastic. I like the storyline. Some say it's a step down for Ambrose to be IC champion again, but we all knew this was going to happen. We all knew once Ambrose lost the WWE title, he was going to be pushed down the card a bit. We all knew that was going to happen. And with Cena coming back, that would be another reason for Ambrose to move down the card. So, I mean, I'm not surprised by it, but I'm glad that Ambrose and The Miz are involved in a compelling storyline right now. And it was the main event on SmackDown. So it was given priority, and Daniel Bryan even acknowledged this on Talking Smack. I thought the whole thing was very well done. So yes, it was controversial, but controversial in a way where the fans can see that The Miz got what he had coming, but The Miz has a reason to get a rematch. Very well done. Got this one here from Andrew. Can you see Dean Ambrose and Renee Young being the new Miz and Maurice, or do you see their pairing to be short-lived? I think that it was done for two reasons. One, because of Total Divas, and we all know, if at least those that are watching Total Divas know that Renee Young and Dean Ambrose are a real-life couple. And the other reason is to have somebody to help Ambrose against Maurice, who's out there in The Miz's corner. So why not have Dean Ambrose's girlfriend go up against The Miz's wife? Why not have them go back and forth? Now, will this lead to a match? Will Renee Young actually get training and get involved and have a match? Will they do a mixed tag match? That I do not see happening. I think once this feud is over between Ambrose and The Miz, there will be no need to have that pairing on television with Ambrose and Renee Young. I think they're just doing it for this storyline, and I do not see Renee Young becoming a manager for Dean Ambrose or that sort of thing. I think she'll continue to do her broadcasting job, which she's really good at. So let her do what she knows how to do. I just think they're doing it for this one storyline, and that'll be the end of it. Got this one here from Sean T. Flick. What do you think of The Miz and Dolph Ziggler becoming a tag team? I did get a similar question about this a few months ago, the idea of Dolph Ziggler turning heel and then teaming up with The Miz. I really like the idea, and an easy way to do it would be to have Ziggler be disgruntled at Daniel Bryan and lash out at Daniel Bryan, and then you have these two heels, The Miz and Daniel Bryan, or excuse me, The Miz and Dolph Ziggler. These two guys, they were enemies at one time, but now they have a common interest. They have a common enemy in Daniel Bryan, and that's how you get the pairing between The Miz and Dolph Ziggler. So it would actually make sense instead of the two of them just randomly teaming together with no reason and make the fans come off like idiots for not remembering all the matches they had. this way you can actually implement it into the storyline and have these two get together because they have a common goal, and that's getting rid of Daniel Bryan as the authority figure on SmackDown. So they could definitely do that, and I think it would work. So yes, I think The Miz and Dolph Ziggler could very well end up as a team, and I think you might as well go for it and see what happens. I mean, Ziggler, I think this was the right thing for him to go heel again. I mean, I think his babyface run had played out, although when he did turn, the fans started cheering. I mean, that's the fear. Anytime you have somebody turn heel, that the modern day fans are just going to cheer for it. But put Ziggler in there with The Miz, let Ziggler be cocky as hell again like he used to be, and I think it would work. I think it would work very well. Got this one here from Larby. What is WWE doing with James Ellsworth and Carmella? WWE's just trying to figure out something to do with Ellsworth. Now that he's out of the AJ Styles storyline, WWE signed the guy to a contract, so they got to do something with him. So I guess the idea is that Carmella is using James Ellsworth to do her bidding and be her little puppy dog. I mean, that's the impression I got from the Talking Smack segment and from watching the segments on SmackDown, that she has him do her shopping and carry her bags and that sort of thing, and knowing that he's going to fall for her. And, you know, I like the storyline because it makes Carmella a good heel, and it makes James Ellsworth sympathetic, I guess, even though his character's a complete idiot, but you still feel sorry for the guy for being a stupid idiot who doesn't know better. I mean, so far I'm enjoying the storyline. It's better than I expected from post AJ Styles, James Ellsworth. I figured once that storyline was done, there was really nothing left to do with Ellsworth. So they are doing something creative with him, and so far I'm liking it. So far I think that it's interesting, and it gives both of them something to do, and it's a good storyline. At least it is a storyline, rather than just doing something where James Ellsworth is just being a semi-heel like he was with Dean Ambrose, and now you can actually feel sorry for the guy again. Time will tell if it works out in the long term, but so far I think it's a good storyline. Got this one here from Dominic. Hey Aaron, long-time viewer, first-time asker. Have you seen Bring It to the Table on the WWE Network? What were your thoughts? I enjoyed it. I thought it was a good show. I like the fact that WWE's addressing some of the fan opinions, even though I think the problem with that format is Peter Rosenberg. Yes, he's a good radio personality, but you had two veterans, JBL and Paul Heyman, basically just laughing at him and making fun of him the entire time. Basically two guys ganging up on the one guy, and you know, he's representing the fan opinions, and they were just basically making him to look like a fool. That's the only thing I didn't like about it. I would rather it be like two people that are representing the fans versus the one guy representing the company. Something like that, or something where it's at least more of an even playing field. Of course, JBL is going to defend Raw being 3 hours from a business perspective. I mean, it does not make sense for WWE to go back to Raw being 2 hours. I mean, they're making a lot of money with the 3-hour shows, and the ratings would have to drop significantly for USA Network to even consider that. So it's not going to happen. So, you know, I agree with JBL on that, but some of the other questions, I mean, I feel like Rosenberg was getting teamed up by those two guys, and, you know, as good of a personality as he is, you know, he's up against two veterans that have been in the wrestling business for decades, and they can more than handle this one guy. So I felt kind of bad for him. But I did enjoy the series. I hope they do more. Got this one here from Ali. Would WWE face a lot of fan backlash if Roman Reigns wins the title at the Royal Rumble and goes on to main event WrestleMania for a third year in a row? Of course. I mean, it would be the usual. You know, fans would be unhappy with it, but they would deal with it. And say what you will about Roman Reigns, but the guy is getting reactions. I mean, on Raw this past week, there was a lot of crowd heat for that Roman Reigns match against Chris Jericho, and Reigns and Brock Lesnar, or excuse me, Goldberg, getting Brock Lesnar and Goldberg mixed up now. You had that segment with Reigns and Goldberg staring off and then doing the double spear to Braun Strowman, which got a big pop from the crowd. And there was a lot of buzz in the arena to see a potential confrontation between Roman Reigns and Goldberg. So Roman Reigns is a star. Is he as big of a star as WWE wanted him to be? No. Is he as popular as WWE wanted him to be? Definitely not, but he is getting the good reactions. I think there were opportunities to turn him heel, and WWE did not do it, so it is what it is. And if WWE went with Roman Reigns as the Royal Rumble winner, yeah, there would be a lot of pissed off fans, but they would still subscribe to the network, they would still buy WrestleMania, and business would just go on as usual. It would just be more of the same. This one comes from Josh. Who do you think will win the Royal Rumble? I think John Cena. If he loses to AJ, Undertaker beats AJ at the next SmackDown Live pay-per-view. Alright, I still feel it's too early to predict the Royal Rumble, so I'm going to wait on that a little bit longer. There are still more twists and turns in the storylines, and I think I need to see how things play out a little bit more before I make my final predictions. Right now I'm leaning towards Undertaker or Chris Jericho, but I'll talk about the Rumble winner more in the next couple of weeks. You know, I could very well see John Cena winning the title at the Rumble and Undertaker winning the Royal Rumble match leading up to Cena versus Undertaker at WrestleMania. I think that that's the most likely scenario right now, but things could change until we actually have a clear idea of what's going to happen as we get closer to the Royal Rumble. It's really hard to say, and ultimately WWE could change plans the day of the Royal Rumble and say, hey, you know what, we're going to go with something different. It isn't until they actually do the Rumble match and go with the winner, at that point they are pretty much committed to going in a solid direction moving forward. Right now, things could still change. This one comes from Dante. With Kurt Angle coming back to WWE, who would he face? And can you see Team Angel versus American Alpha? I thought it was just a typo, but you put Angel twice. It's Kurt Angle anyways. Kurt Angle, I think, would go up against somebody like a Seth Rollins or even an AJ Styles. I mean, I would want to see Angle in there against somebody he hasn't faced, ideally. I mean, AJ would be awesome, even though we saw them compete in TNA. I still think Angle and AJ in a WWE ring would be phenomenal, to use a phrase from AJ. I think Kurt Angle versus Rusev would be a very solid match because of the fact that Rusev is the anti-American and Kurt Angle is red, white, and blue from head to toe, the Olympic gold medalist. You have the good dynamic there between those two. Easy storyline to tell. So there's a few guys. I mean, I would hope that if Kurt Angle does come back to WWE, that they can get 3 or 4 matches out of him, at least. Maybe a Brock Lesnar type schedule. Right now, it's one of those cases where I'll believe it when I see it, and I think that's how everyone else should feel. But maybe one day we will see it. Maybe one day we will see Kurt Angle compete in a WWE ring again. At the very least, go into the Hall of Fame. I think that will happen almost for sure. But wrestling, that is still very much up in the air. And Angle, Team Angle versus American Alpha. I mean, that's a possibility as well. You know, there's always the possibility of Angle teaming up with somebody or having his own team to go up against American Alpha or be part of American Alpha as the manager of them. So there are some possibilities. Got this one here from Jeremy James 24. What would be your Ultimate Divas dream match? Mine would be Lita and Trish versus Charlotte and Heel Bayley. Heel Bayley, I do not like that idea at all with Bayley being a heel. I mean, first of all, I think I would go with a one-on-one match. I don't think I would do a tag match. I mean, if I was going to do that, if I was going to do a tag match, I would do Trish and Lita versus Charlotte and a heel Sasha Banks. I think that that would be better than a heel Bayley. But ideally, I would go with Trish versus Charlotte. I mean, WWE's building up Charlotte as the #1 woman of this era. That's what they're trying to do with her. She's still got a ways to go. I mean, looking back at the NoDQ.com year-end awards, I mean, Trish won that something like 6 years in a row. I mean, it was crazy. I mean, Trish dominated the women's division in WWE for half a decade. So when Charlotte is at that level, if she can have 5 or 6 good years on top, you know, she'll arguably be the greatest female performer in WWE history. And yeah, Trish versus Charlotte, I think that would be the biggest dream match in terms of WWE women, other than bringing in an outsider like a Ronda Rousey. I mean, we're talking about dream matches. Ronda Rousey versus Charlotte for the women would be at the top of the list. This one comes from Alex Daines. With WWE releasing a DVD package on DDP, is this a hint that he is entering the Hall of Fame next year or later? Well, apparently he is going in this year. That is the big rumor that is going around, and it makes a lot of sense. I think that that was the first sign that a Hall of Fame induction was imminent. The fact that he has a DVD coming out in March, right before the Hall of Fame. I mean, timing-wise, it makes all the sense in the world. We know how WWE is. They're trying to make money. They're trying to make money as much as possible. So it's a no-brainer. If you're making a DDP DVD, you put them in the Hall of Fame. You get that publicity to promote the DVD. It's just business. So I would be shocked if DDP doesn't go into the Hall of Fame this year with that DVD coming out. That would surprise me greatly. And DDP is one of those guys that has been rumored for years. I mean, certainly one of the most deserving guys, not just for his accomplishments in the ring, but also what he's done outside the ring and helping so many people in the DDP yoga and all that. Yeah, I think it needs to happen this year, and I would be very surprised if it doesn't. So it's definitely looking like DDP's going in this year as one of the top headliners in this year's class. This one comes from Cheyenne. In my opinion, Revival should make their debut on SmackDown because it doesn't have any major tag teams except AA, Usos, and maybe the Wyatts. Your thoughts? I agree. I mean, I was arguing for the Revival going on Raw when New Day still had the tag team titles. Now that that's over, I would put Revival on SmackDown. I would rekindle their feud with American Alpha. This is something I think I talked about a few episodes ago. Have the Revival come in and maybe do Revival versus American Alpha at WrestleMania. You know, last year they tore it up in NXT. A year later, they're going for the tag team titles at WrestleMania. I think that that would be an awesome story. So I would try to call up the Revival fairly soon and get them in for WrestleMania, because I don't see the Wyatt family versus American Alpha thing playing out to WrestleMania. I think we'll see Randy Orton turn on Bray, and we'll see that match at WrestleMania, Bray Wyatt versus Randy Orton. And that opens the door for Revival to come in and be the top heel team to challenge American Alpha. That's what I would do, at least. This one comes from Chris. Would you have Bayley win the title at the Royal Rumble and defend it at WrestleMania against a heel Sasha Banks? I think it's too soon. It's too soon for another women's title change. We just saw Charlotte win it back. I think Bayley needs to be chasing it for a while. I mean, that's the typical storyline you do. You have the babyface chase the heel and try to win the title from the heel. She needs to be unsuccessful at least once. For her to win the title, it would be too soon. You do not want to pull the trigger too soon. I think at WrestleMania, it would be a lot more impactful if Bayley won the title from Charlotte. So what I would do is have Bayley come just a little bit short at the Rumble and have to fight her way back to the top. You know, it's, what, 2-3 months until WrestleMania from the Royal Rumble. So that gives Bayley some time to try and build herself back up and get one more shot at Charlotte. And then at WrestleMania, she finally does it. And after WrestleMania, you can start moving towards Bayley versus a heel Sasha Banks. That'll do it for No DQ&A video. Thanks as always for watching. Again, we got episode 900 coming up. Please spread the word about No DQ&A video. Tell a friend. Share this video on Facebook or Twitter. And I will see you guys next time for episode number 900.